A DeVille House Divided is the 10th and final episode of the 4th season of All Grown Up. And because I love Phil and Lil, I quite like this. We also have part of the narrative focusing on Dill, but honestly, it was boring, it was pointless. It involves Pangborn's nephew, and it just wasn't interesting. It was padding, it didn't need to be there. The main narrative focuses on Phil and Lil and the fact that Phil has a crush on Wally, who is Lil's female soccer teammate. And Phil starts to spend time with Wally, and that means that Wally hasn't got as much time to spend with Lil. So Lil is starting to get jealous, and she takes drastic action, and things don't go according to plan for pretty much everybody. And there are some lessons to be learned here. And there's this one heartbreaking scene where Phil is crying. I won't say why he's crying or what has happened, but the animation for it was brilliant and it was very, very touching. And I thought it was a pretty decent episode. I can't relate to this, but I can imagine that if you have a sibling, not necessarily a twin, but a sibling you're close to in age, and you have a crush on one of their friends, that's going to be really awkward. And I feel like you should never date your sibling's friend, because if that relationship doesn't work out, that's going to cause problems. But this episode does a good job of highlighting this and showing that it's maybe not the most sensible thing, but also if your sibling is dating your friend, there are also right and wrong ways of going about responding to that situation. So I think it did a pretty decent job of raising these potentially relatable issues. Wally is a likeable character. I don't know if we see much more of Wally, but certainly the character was pretty decent. It's a well-animated episode, and the pacing is really good. The story with Dill, as I said, was just pointless padding. It wasn't interesting. It didn't need to be there. I feel like it was just an excuse to feature some of the other characters a little bit. But actually, the story with Phil and Lil carried itself really well without needing that padding. So it's generally pretty impressive. I don't know if it's one of my all-time favourite episodes, but I did enjoy it. DeVille House Divided was pretty decent.